have read Flannery O'Connor before, and many of you may have read A Good Man is Hard to Find before. What I found most interesting about Flannery O'Connor's writing is that she usually sets the mood as kind of dark and morose, but yet through the story she brings out a light of grace or a light of mercy. And that's what you'll find in her story, A Good Man is Hard to Find. You'll just have to look for the good in the story. To preface the story a little bit, the story begins with a grandmother who is upset about having to go to Florida for vacation with her son and his family because she wants to go and visit her connections in Tennessee. And the excuse she uses is that the misfit is on the loose. The misfit is a serial killer. Just kills for pleasure or whatever. And she said that he just escaped from Georgia and is on his way to Florida. And so during the beginning of the story, you kind of see the dysfunction of the family. They yell at each other. The children, John Wesley and June Starr, make fun of their grandmother, just saying it like it is. The grandmother's rather proud. She kind of thinks that she's all together. She's a good Christian. She's got good breeding. So she just thinks she's fine. And anyways, the ironic part about it is as they're traveling down to Florida, they get to a town called Toomsboro. They see 6 graves and the side over there, and the lady thinks of, a mansion with a secret passage that's in Georgia that she remembers. She convinces the children they have to go and see it and go through all these secret crevices. But as they turn down this narrow road that she thinks the mansion is on, she suddenly remembers the mansion's not even in Georgia, it's in Tennessee. Well, her cat, which was never supposed to come on the trip because Bailey hated the cat, jumps on Bailey, causes an accident. 3 gentlemen pull up in their vehicle and get out to help them. But, unfortunately, the grandmother recognizes the ringleader as the misfit. And the misfit tells her she made a mistake in doing so. Listen, the grandmother almost screamed. I know you're a good man. You don't look like you got a bit of common blood in you. You must come from nice people. Yes, ma'am, the misfit said. Honest people in the world. When he smiled, he showed a row of strong white teeth. God never made a finer woman than my mother, and my daddy's heart was pure gold. The boy in the red sweatshirt had come around behind him and was standing with his gun at his hip. The misfit squatted down and looked at the 6 of them huddled in front of him, and he seemed embarrassed, as if he didn't know what to say. Ain't a cloud in the sky, he said, looking up at it. Don't see no sun, but don't see no cloud neither. Yes, it is a beautiful day, the grandmother said. Listen, you shouldn't call yourself a misfit. It's misleading. I know you're a good man. At heart, you don't look a bit common. I appreciate that, lady, the misfit said as he drew a circle in the ground with the butt of his gun. So a conversation takes place between Bobby, Lee, the misfit, grandmother, and Bailey, and the misfit orders Hiram and Bobby Lee to take Bailey and John Wesley off into the woods where no one can see them. Bailey boy! The grandmother called in a tragic voice, but she found she was looking at the misfit squatting there in front of her. I know you're a good man. You're not a bit common. No, the misfit said after a second, as if he considered what she said carefully. I ain't a good man. I ain't the worst in the world, neither. My daddy always said I was a different breed of dog from my brothers and sisters. You know, Daddy said, it's some people that can live their whole lives out without asking about it. And it's others has to know why it is. And this boy's one of the ladders. He's going to be into everything. He put on his black hat and looked up suddenly and deep again into the woods as if he were embarrassed. "I'm sorry I don't have a shirt on before you ladies," he said, hunching his shoulders slightly. "We buried our clothes that we had on when we escaped, and we're just making do until we can get better. We borrowed these from some folks we met." "That's perfectly all right. Maybe Bailey has an extra shirt in his suitcase. I'll look and see directly." "Where are they taking him?" the mother screamed. "Ah, it was a card himself," the misfit continued. You couldn't put anything over on him. He never got in trouble with the authorities, though. Just had a knack of handling them. You could be honest, too, if you tried. Think how wonderful it would be to settle down and live a comfortable life and not have to think of anybody chasing you more. The misfit kept scratching the ground with the butt of his gun as if he were thinking about it. Yes, and somebody's always chasing after you. The grandmother noticed how thin his shoulder blades were because she was standing up looking down at him. "Do you ever pray?" she asked. He shook his head. All she could see was the black hat wiggle between his shoulder blades. "No," he said. There was a pistol shot from the woods, followed closely by another. Then silence. The old lady's head jerked around. She could hear the wind move through the treetops like a long, satisfied insect of air. "Bailey boy!" she called. "I was a gospel singer for a while," the misfit continued. "I've been most everything. Been in the armed services, both land and sea, both home and abroad. Been an undertaker, been with the railroad, plowed Mother Earth, been twice married, been in a tornado. I even seen a man burn alive once." And he looked at the mother and the little girl sitting close together, their faces white and their eyes glassy. "I even seen a woman flogged once." "Pray, pray," the grandmother began. "Pray, pray. I never was a bad boy that I can remember of," the misfit said in an almost stringy voice. "But somewhere along the line, I done something wrong and got sent to the state penitentiary. I was buried alive," and he held her attention to him by a steady stare. "Then that's when you should have started to pray," she said. "What'd you do to get sent to the penitentiary the first time?" Turned to the right, it was a wall. Turned to the left, it was another wall. Look up, it was a ceiling. Look down, it was a floor. I can't remember what I'd done, lady. I sat there and sat there trying to remember what it was I'd done, and I ain't recalled to this day. Once in a while, I think it's come to me, but it never come." "Maybe they put you in by mistake," the lady said vaguely. "No, it wasn't no mistake. They had the papers on me. Maybe you just stole something." He sneered slightly. "Nobody had nothing I wanted. It was the head doctor at the penitentiary that said what I'd done was kill my daddy, but I've known that for a lie. My daddy died in 1919 of the epidemic flu, and I had nothing to do with it. He was buried in the Mount Hopewell Baptist Churchyard, and you can go there and see for yourself. If you would pray, Jesus would help you." "That's right. Well then, why don't you pray?" "I don't want no help. I'm doing all right as I am." So Hiram and Bobby Lee returned from the woods and take the mother and June Sar and the baby off with them, where they took Bailey and the little boy, John Wesley. Alone with the misfit, the grandmother found she had lost her voice. There was not a cloud in the sky, nor any sun. There was nothing around her but woods. She wanted to tell him he was praying, She opened and closed her mouth several times before anything came out, and finally, when something did come out, she found herself saying, "Jesus, Jesus," meaning Jesus will help you, but the way she was saying it sounded as if she might be cursing. "Yes, ma'am," the misfit said as if he agreed with her. Jesus thrown everything off balance. It was the same case with him as it was with me. He hadn't committed any crime except they said I committed crimes because they had the papers on me. Of course, they never showed me my papers. That's why I sign everything myself now. I said long ago, you get a signature and sign everything they do and keep a copy of it. Then you'll know what you've done, and you can hold up the crime to the punishment and see, do they match? And in the end, you'll see, you'll have something to prove that you ain't been treated right. I call myself a misfit because I can't make all I've done wrong fit all I've gone through in punishment. There was a piercing scream from the woods, followed closely by a pistol report. Does this seem right to you, lady? That one is punished a heap and another ain't punished at all? Jesus! You've got good blood. I know you wouldn't shoot a lady. I know you must come from nice people. Pray, Jesus, you ought not shoot a lady. I'll give you all the money I've got. Lady, the misfit said, staring deep into the woods. There never was a buy to get an undertaker tip. There were two more pistol reports, and the grandmother raised her head like a parched old turkey and crying for water, "Bailey boy! Bailey boy!" as if her heart would break. Jesus was the only one that ever raised the dead, the misfit continued, and he shouldn't have done it. He's shown everything off balance. If he did what he said he did, then it's nothing you can do but throw away everything and follow him. But if he didn't, then there's nothing you can do but to enjoy the last minutes you've got left by killing somebody or burning down his house or doing some other meanness. Ain't no pleasure in life but meanness. Maybe he didn't raise the dead, the grandmother mumbled, not knowing what she was saying. And feeling so dizzy, she sank into the ditch, her legs twisted underneath of her. I wasn't there, so I couldn't say he didn't. I wish I'd been there. If I'd been there, I would have known. Listen, lady, if I'd been there, I would have known and I wouldn't be like I am now. His voice seemed about to crack, and the grandmother's head cleared for an instant. His voice seemed about to crack. She saw the man's face twisted so close to her own, as if he were going to cry, and she murmured, "Why, you're one of my babies. You're one of my own children." And she reached out and touched his shoulder. The misfit sprang back as if a snake had bitten him, and he shot her through the chest 3 times. And then he put his gun on the ground and took his glasses off and began to clean them. Hiram and Bobby Lee returned from the woods and stood over the ditch, looking down at the grandmother who half lay, half sat in a puddle of blood, with her legs crossed under her like a child's, and her face smiling up at the cloudless sky. Without his glasses, the misfit's eyes were red-rimmed, pale, and defenseless looking. "Take her off and throw her away from the others," he said, picking up the grandmother's cap that was rubbing against his leg. "She was a talker, wasn't she?" Bobby Lee said as he slid down the ditch with a yodel. "She would have been a good woman if there had been somebody there to shoot her every moment of her life." "Some fun! Shut up, Bobby Lee. Ain't no real pleasure in life.